Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. So I'm reading today for Pisces energy. We've also got the Pisces full moon, so interesting energy coming through. It definitely has this highs and lows quality to it. The moon is often associated as well with like secrecy or things that are hidden, and there's some illusion stuff going on there. Not a huge amount of illusion in the reading, but I just thought I'd kind of mention that. But this kind of secrecy. So the way that your energy came in, Pisces, and again, it's collective energy, it's not an individual reading, so it's stuff that's going on in the collective consciousness, affected by the full moon, Pisces, all that kind of business, Neptune, which is your ruling planet. Yeah, so your energy came in really, really strongly at first on, I think probably, was it Friday? I think it could have been Friday. I just felt like really tired, like I had to sleep. And of course, like sleep is associated with Pisces because of this kind of like dream world imagination quality to your reading. So all day Friday, I was just out for the count, but I was getting a lot of intuitive messages. And then I thought, right, well, it's the Pisces full moon, so this energy is only going to get stronger and stronger. But it's like you kind of went off radar. So it's really interesting. I couldn't quite, I'm saying you, right? But it's collective you. I couldn't quite connect to your energy anymore. It's like you went off the grid somehow, or I don't know. I've got the feeling, Pisces, that some of you might have been out partying. Like can't contact Pisces, they've lost the phone's run out of battery. That kind of thing. Like, where's Pisces? You come home really drunk. There's something going on here that's reminding me of a story of one of uh, my stepmom's friends. My dad had offered this person firewood. He needed firewood, and my dad was like, "I've got a ton of it. Just swing round and come and pick it up." But this guy went out and he got really, really, really drunk. And in that drunken state, he saw some wood over a fence and thought, "Right, I need to go and climb over that fence and get the wood." But in doing so, he kind of got his leg kind of like stuck on the fence he was climbing over, and he kind of injured himself a bit. And so this is kind of making me think of that, about kind of like being a little bit, it's like it's coming through as almost like emotional decisions, maybe under the influence rather than logical decisions. So again, some of you could be finding this. If you've got Pisces placements, you could be finding that you're suddenly making emotional choices rather than logical choices, especially if there's substances involved, and especially if there's something emotional that you're trying to avoid, is the way it's coming through, like overwhelming emotions that you're trying to avoid. So you're coming through like a parallel to Capricorn's reading, like the flip side. So not that you are the other person in Capricorn's reading, but possibly more like you are the choice that Capricorn didn't make, not like as a person, but like say you had to make a choice and it was like, do I make the logical choice? You get Capricorn's reading. And it's like, do I make the emotional choice? And you get this reading, is the way it's coming through. So it's like parallel dimensions, or the flip side of it, making a choice. So you seem to be talking about the emotional choice, and your energy originally came through with this kind of like vision of I'm hearing Starfall. Is that like a James Bond movie, Starfall? So it's like plummeting down into these deep waters. Actually, I need to get a book. I always say hold on, like you have a choice, because I say hold on and then I pause, so it's like a minute for me and no time at all for you. So there's some kind of wibbly wobbly timey-wimey stuff coming through, which is part of your reading, so I'll talk about now, considering it's kind of come around. But it's almost like I do get this kind of the physicist, I call it the physicist energy, where sometimes I get messages about physics and I'm like, why am I being told this? What's the purpose of this? But I've been getting stuff about how black holes work. Now I think sometimes we think of it as a 2D thing, like a flat thing, almost like a plug hole, right? So things getting sucked into the gravitational pull of the black hole, like a spiral. You actually had the spiral in one of the practice readings that I did. Again, I couldn't get the message out. It took me a while to get back into your energy. It's like again, like you kind of went off radar. So maybe some of you have felt like you were spiraling emotionally. That could be definitely part of this reading. But black holes are actually they show me a golf ball for some reason. So maybe some of you play golf, or that could be a topic for you somehow. But it's like they keep saying golf ball. It's actually a ball shaped, right? It's a 3D black hole, and they actually sculpt the universe around them. So they do suck things into their gravitational pull, but when you get to the event horizon, they also eject things. So there's a push and pull to it, and there's a push and pull in your reading as well. So the black hole itself, it's we think of it as being a void space, but it's actually very, very dense. Now, I don't know why this is coming through in your reading, but there seems to be some kind of parallel being made with it could be the gravitational pull of the moon, which obviously the moon is not a black hole, but that's what I'm being kind of told. So there was something in Capricorn's reading as well, and you have got the moon here, about it was the last card actually in this whole series. I just didn't have space on my table for it, but the moon card being the last card, the moon has a gravitational pull on the earth. It's like again, this kind of push and pull between the earth and the moon, where this kind of the gravity keeping the moon in our orbit. Right, have you ever, like, if you got a ball on a rope, I don't know why this is coming through, maybe some of you are giving your kids physics lessons, and they're showing me as well, I don't know if anyone ever had these. I loved mine. You could, like back in the 80s, you could have these toys that were like a skipping rope, but it was a hoop, and you put the hoop over your foot, and it's got like a ball on the end, or a count, like a step counter, and you have to kind of like swing your foot around and kind of jump over this thing. So it is like a skipping rope for one kind of thing, but they're showing me that as well. So this concept of like a ball on a string, right? Maybe it's like a ball and chain, like because Capricorn had this thing about like the wife or the husband, right? The old ball and chain, but like a ball on the end of a rope, and then if you span it, right, yes, you would be keeping that ball in your orbit as though you were the earth, right? That ball is going to be going in circles around you, but it's also, there's going to be a pull on the other end of that rope where it's pulling away from you. So this push pull with the moon, I don't know why it comes through with physics, but it does, creates the waves, right, with the ocean. So there seems to be some kind of parallel being made with the way that black holes and the gravitational pull of black holes sculpt the universe around them, and the how the moon also creates the waves, and then we've got this stuff about deep ocean. I knew these cards would come out for you because I was seeing them. So it's like I'm trying to explain what I'm getting. The moon is associated with emotions, and water's associated with emotions. So there's something to do with like maybe the earth representing being grounded, because we've got Pachamama here, which is this kind of like Gaia energy, Gaia, I don't know how to pronounce it. Studied classics, can't pronounce anything, which is like the earth, and then this moon, so this like push and pull, and then the oceans. I'm not sure. But you had the first song that came through intuitively was rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby, rock the boat, don't tip the boat over, my love is like a ship on the ocean, which I thought was funny because I did Capricorn's reading last, and it's funny that I've skipped Aquarius this week. Aquarius kind of came through with Virgo and Libra, I think. So Aquarius doesn't have an independent reading, which again could be meaningful in some sort of way, but it's funny that you and Capricorn seem to have closed the gap. That's happening here. Okay, sorry, everything's sort of starting to make sense just as I talk. Things are starting to make sense. There's this thing about closing the gap here, because can you see it's like these two pillars, and this space in between, and then here how this energetic tie is drawing these two energies together is what I was kind of seeing. So closing the gap between Capricorn and Pisces by removing Aquarius somehow could be meaningful. So yeah, Capricorn had, they were the ship on the ocean, basically. They were the box, they were the structure, they were the Hierophant energy, right? The rules, the order, the establishment. Interesting, I'm talking about this. I did Capricorn's reading, and there was a bit of stuff in there that I think was talking about the death of Her Majesty the Queen, God rest her soul, and the ascension of King Charles III, God save the King. Just doing my bit for Queen and King and country here, right? But obviously Queen Elizabeth has just passed away, and King Charles has just ascended to the throne in the UK, Britain, England, Ireland, yeah, all that stuff. So I think there was stuff in Capricorn's reading about that. And of course, and I remember it coming through really strongly. It was like I was being, like the Hierophant card in Capricorn's reading had this gravitational pull that was pulling me to it. It was like all my attention was going to it. And now, and of course, there was that big event that happened after I had, I think the news broke as I think the news broke that the Queen was ill as I was uploading Capricorn's reading, and there was all this stuff coming through about Capricorn, about names. I almost put on the thumbnail something about, I can't remember what it was exactly, but the last reading for Caps had the confidence in their own damn name, and then they had something. It was in one of the songs about being like the lack of a name or the loss of a name or something like this. I don't know why, it just really felt like it was talking about like what was going on with the royal family. It's funny that Hierophant card meaning Taurus energy. I believe the Queen was Taurus, and I think Prince Charles, I think, is Scorpio, but he's got Taurus in his chart. I can't remember if he's got a Taurus moon or like Taurus Mars, but I know he's got Taurus in his chart somewhere. I swear it. And the Hierophant card itself meaning, you know, the rules, the structures, the organizations, the hierarchies, you know, all this kind of, you know, head of church, you know, head of the Church of England, all that stuff carried by that Hierophant card. Just, and it was just, again, like it felt like a gravitational pull to me, to that, to the rules, to the structure, to society, to traditions, to the borders that we have, and all those kind of things. And then there was this love outside of that in Capricorn's reading. And so Capricorn was coming through very much as part of the structure, part of the box. But being, you know, having to navigate these emotional waves, which could be talking about the emotions of the populace, perhaps, where you seem to have, and you can scale this up or scale it down to a personal level, of course. And then you got Rock the Boat, Don't Rock the Boat, Baby, My Love is Like a Ship on the Ocean. But you seem to be rocking the boat. You've got all this stuff about fours. So the 4 of earth, the 4 of water, the 4 of fire. And then you have a lot of 10s as well. So I noticed here 4 and 6, 40 as well, breaks down to another 4. So 4, 4, 4, 4. All these 4s. And then you've got all these 10s as well. So I noticed here 4 and 6 makes 10. And then I noticed you've got a 10 here, freedom. And then you've got a 10 here. You've got a 10 here. So all these 10s. So I feel like there's something, like the wheel is turning. You've got Fortune's wheel, you've got new beginnings. It's like you can probably feel it in the wind. You can probably sense it in your emotional tides, right? You can probably sense the emotional gravitational pull of something that is going to make some sort of change. Because this then moves to a 3, which is what seems to get you off balance in some sort of way. Okay, so rock the boat. The waves are gonna do what the waves are gonna do. Whether or not it's gonna rock your boat, I feel like it is gonna rock the boat, whatever that symbolizes. But I don't know. Maybe watch Capricorn's reading if you're interested in the boat more. You seem to be the ocean. I also got as well a channel for you. I'm the very model of a modern major general. I know the Kings of England, Pirates of Penzance. So I don't actually know that play. I've never watched the Pirates of Penzance. Whenever I hear it, I see the scene from Pretty Woman where she's watching the opera. And she goes, I loved it so much I almost peed my pants. And the old lady goes, what did she say? And Richard Gere's character goes, she said she loved it as much as Pirates of Penzance. So that's my association with that play. I don't know if the play means anything to you, if it does take it as it resonates. But I didn't know that song. I didn't know where that song had come from. I don't even know the song particularly well, but it popped into my head. And of course, it's this guy doing like an elevator pitch, right? He's like rolling out his list of achievements, and I don't know if that's some kind of like some kind of nod to Prince Charles there. You know, I'm a general. I've got this qualification and that qualification, and I don't know. Maybe Capricorns have been doing some kind of elevator pitch or something as well. It's funny to me, but I don't know why it's coming through with your reading. But of course, it's Pirates of Penzance. So are you being represented as the pirates, like almost offering those, and it doesn't have to be a specific sign either, right? Capricorn representing those who are working with the box energy, working with the rules, the regulations, the traditions, the structures, the this is what you do to be honorable, because I think they had like integrity. And then you seem to be coming in with this more pirate's life for me energy of well, the waves are gonna, you know, the waves are gonna roll in, the waves are gonna roll out. You may as well enjoy the boat ride. You seem to be a lot more. Is it laissez-faire? Is that the right word? I don't really know. I'm bad with French. Is it even French? I don't know. But you have that much more. Let's just roll with the ocean kind of thing going on with your reading. Parenting your own inner child. The child card came out. Finding inner light, gold light. I heard don't say no. So if an opportunity comes up, you've got this fortune's wheel, don't say no. And right on time. So something could be coming in right on time, like right when you need it. You know the song, right on time, right on time. As I say that, it's 1616 on the timestamp. Watch out for number patterns. A lot of number patterns in your reading. Okay, I was going to go and get the book. Give me a second. Give me a second, she says, literally. Yeah, so that's why I started banging on about black holes and space and bending time and bending light and stuff like this. So yeah, like if you were outside of a black hole or inside the event horizon, like time and space and matter, everything's going to work differently. There's like different physics happening there. So this whole bending of time and space is coming through for you as well. It's funny, I work with a couple of Pisces. My Pisces friend, hi, watches my readings, and she's not into things like Star Wars and stuff that much, but I went with this Pisces teenage boy who's like so into Star Wars, and I feel like when I start talking about black holes, I'm like, here come the Pisces boys. Like my son as well, obsessed with Star Wars. Right, okay. So you have this thing where in my vision it was like plunging deep down to the bottom of the ocean, and in Capricorn's reading the box, which is like this, because they have this thing, Capricorn, about having the cave heart, like the cold hard cave heart kind of thing, which is not really fair to the Cappies, because some of them have the biggest hearts, but sometimes they can come across as very stoic, and so this is why they have this analogy, and also because some of them, bless them, have had such a hard time of it and really been suffering. And when you go through emotional turmoil or an intense amount of pressure, they're telling me diamonds, of course, diamonds. Yes, okay. I'm being drawn to another message. It's the Pisces full moon. I'm getting a lot of messages. So if you are put under intense pressure, you know, it can create a diamond, is what they're kind of saying to me. But yeah, Caps have this kind of like geode heart. It's like, yeah, it looks like solid rock from the outside, but inside it's all sparkly and magic. And so when I tuned into Capricorn's energy, I was shown this box, which represents the seat of the soul kind of for Capricorn, and it was full of water, like a fish tank, and all this stuff about like dropping stones into the fish tank for Caps. Now you are coming in with this, but on a kind of a bigger scale. And then what was fascinating to me is I went and sat down in the bathroom, if you must know, I was on the toilet, and my son had this book in there, and it was this, right, the Cave Challenge, and like look at all this water pouring in. So it's like Pisces is coming in and offering Capricorn this emotional adventure, but it feels overwhelming because it's coming through with this analogy of like almost like an astronaut of the sea is the way it was coming through to me, where you are dropping down, you know, like what they call those divers, and they go down on a piece of string, like diving down. It was like this, dropping through this vast ocean, like down, and it was coming through at one point. It was like this body, this person that was dropping through the ocean started to radiate this brilliant light, and it was like bright light, but it was refracting into all these like beautiful kind of like shimmering rainbow colors, like really, really bright in the black vastness of this deep ocean. But as it went down, 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 it's like the light started to flicker off, and it kind of went to darkness, which is a bit of a scary vision to have sometimes. But then it came through with actually hitting the bottom of the ocean. So it was coming through with this idea of being weighted down. Like, so the analogy is going to the kind of the bottom of your fish tank, going to the like the deepest, darkest, scariest places of your emotional core, right? Your emotional body of water, going deep into your own inner psyche, and literally hitting rock bottom of, or sand bottom, I guess, sandy bottom, maybe SpongeBob is something for some of you, hitting the ocean floor, right? Hitting the bottom of your emotions, like it's like going further than no man has ever gone before. So it's like astronauts in space, but it's the ocean. And this idea of like, it's like having to force yourself to go down that deep because it feels unnatural. It's almost provoking a kind of flight or fight response in you where you want to shed the weights and, you know, swim back up to the surface. You want to get out of those heavy, deep emotions because they crush you, right? When you get really low in the ocean, you start to be crushed. So again, this sense of like the bottom of the ocean being like a black hole where matter itself is crushed in with that kind of density. Someone had something about balloons as well, like the equalization of pressure inside and outside of something. That's, again, I just feel like someone's studying physics. It keeps coming through. So like having to actually put weights on you to force yourself to sink to that place where, you know, you want to fight it. It's like you want to fight against that gravitational pull that's taking you to a very dark emotional place, but it's like there's a purpose to it. There's a reason why you are going there, right? Because it's like you have to confront something or you have to discover something. So this came through, and again, somebody could just be watching this movie, and it's one of my favorite movies. I think it's brilliant. The film The Abyss. So if you know the film The Abyss, it's an old movie, so spoiler alert. They there's basically aliens live in the ocean, and they want to go down into this deep trench, and the only way to do it is to, well, firstly they are breathing water. They have this like special oxygenated water that they're breathing. I don't recommend anyone actually try and breathe water. That sounds like a bad thing, but it's like to equalize the pressure, right? So they're not getting crushed, and so that they can breathe. And you know, he does have the weights to pull him down. And so I went back and watched scenes from the movie to kind of understand what I was getting. And his light does indeed, it like flickers out as he goes down at one point, and he's at the bottom. He reaches the bottom and he's typing on this keypad to his I think wife, who I think he's estranged from, who's back up on this ship, and he's saying, I knew this was going to be a one-way ticket, but I had to come. So it's like, again, it's that feeling of like, I have to do this. I have to explore this part of myself, right? So, oh, I have to do this. I have to go on this adventure. This emotional adventure is the way it's coming through. So the thing is, though, he gets down there and he thinks that's it, right? But in my vision, it was like this kind of oxygen bubble appeared, or it was like there was a wall of water in front of me. And this indeed happens in the film. So the way I got it visually, before I tell you about the scene from the film, I hit the bottom of this ocean. I was on the sand. The water kind of moved out so that I could breathe, and there was like a wall of water in front of me, like a film of, you know, like Moses parting the Red Sea kind of thing. Like the water was pushed back. So then there was like this jellyfish mermaid creature on the other side, very much like this in my vision. This is why I knew this card was going to come out for you, like this creature on the other side. So again, if you've seen The Abyss, there's these aliens that are on the other side of this water veil. And I moved into, again, this was just through meditation, through vision, I moved into this water space. But as I did so, I became water. So it's like physically my body changed to be water. I was like almost like a jellyfish, right? So I could fully step into this water realm, and and be made of the same stuff and fully step out of it and be completely human again, right, in the air. So this switching between, and it was fascinating to me. So in my meditation, because I'm semi-active in it, you know, I kept on doing it. I was like, I kept on going in and out of this. I was like, this is fun. Like, blah, 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 you know. So but it was really interesting to me. And so in another vision as well, I saw a mermaid in a fish tank, so very much like the movie Splash, you know, Daryl Hannah. It's like this mermaid in the fish tank. So it's like transposing or transporting something into a different space. This mermaid in the fish tank, it was like on the beach. So this was up in our realm, in our air, right? And then there was like a box of air in the water realm. So this thing about transferable spaces seems to be something. What were they trying to get me to say before? Oh, just give me a second. I'm just going to try and pull it back in. Hold on. Okay, so I heard the word polymorpheus. Now, it does have different definitions. If you ask Sigmund Freud, he's going to say it's a person's ability to experience sexual pleasure in a variety of ways in the entire body, beyond the narrow range of genital stimulation that is constant with reproduction. So instead of doing military position, you're getting a bit funky, basically, is what I get from that for some of you. But it's got a lot of different meanings, and I think the meaning that I was being drawn to was the biology meaning. So it's funny to come from physics to biology, but this is part of the message itself. Exhibiting polymorphism, a polymorphous organism. So it's something that can change form. So the kind of main example that they give is how like carbon can turn into diamond, but there's animals as well that can change their I don't know if like caterpillars and butterflies, you've got this moth here, count as a polymorphic creature. It's like something to do with DNA and stuff like this as well. So it's this idea of like, I mean, literally it means multiple form, right? So a creature with multiple forms, a creature that can exist in different spaces. Normally it doesn't talk about it in terms of how I was physically me and I was turning into a different matter as I moved from different environments. It's very Libra, actually. Libra has been coming through with this kind of multifaceted, being able to fit into different environments thing in their readings for a while, like almost chameleon energy. But I think in terms of biology, it talks more about, from what I understand, it talks more about almost like Darwinism DNA, so things changing over generations. So I'm sorry, I'm trying. It's hard because I'm getting so much in and it gets overwhelming. But this is almost part of the reading itself. Is this overwhelmed by information thing? So there's been something coming through. If I kind of boil it down and kind of draw it back in, about being able to take different fields of education and transfer the way things work in physics to the way things work in biology. So if you're talking about sacred geometry and things like this, or like DNA strands, and you know how like the I don't know, like what would be a black hole? Something that, I mean, yes, this is literally a thing. I was watching a physicist on YouTube talking about this, how, you know, the black hole on this massive scale, like on this galaxy-sized scale, also can be replicated inside an atom, right? It's like this idea of like blank spaces also exists within every single nuclei, every single atom. It's just the scale is different. So that has been coming through in my readings for a couple of weeks and months. Again, I don't know why it's coming through. It could just, some of you could be like, what is she talking about? But there could be one person watching who is like, oh my God, that's the light bulb moment. So I don't know. I'm just gonna say what I'm getting. So I'm sorry, it's one of those readings, Pisces, where I just absolutely waffle, but it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Like, if this is the reading, this is the reading. Okay. So I've got a lot of songs that have been coming through for you. You have again this feeling of like going out partying for some of you, almost turning off the logical aspect of the brain. So again, for some of you, it could be you're studying something like physics, right? You're working with big brain information. Maybe, you know, your job is some kind of science job where the actual information, the logical side of your brain has to work so much that you just sometimes want to switch it off and go out and have some fun. So I'm getting this go out and have some fun, like feel things instead of being stoic is what I think some of you have been doing. So again, I'm really getting strongly like this sense of being in some kind of club or being on a dance floor. You're getting a lot of stuff about dancing. So check out your, I don't want to kind of go through each one, but check out your description box for a lot of different songs. You have things like, you know, Move Like Jagger and this kind of thing. I was being shown like Elvis and John Travolta on the dance floor and all these kinds of things. So it's like just really wanting to get out and party. What J-Lo play, you know, come on DJ, play that song, you know that turns me on. So it's like just physically, Libra had this as well. You've got a bit of a time with Libra, and I want to say Capricorn and Cancer, because Capricorn and Cancer again, like Cancer feels and Capricorn does. So it's like it's like feeling your body, remembering what it's like to be human, remembering why you're here on earth, and just having some fun and like shaking your hair, letting it loose, putting your favorite songs on. If you're not actually physically going to a pub, and it's like having a few drinks as well and just letting the stress like wash off you. For some of you, others of you, it's like you're just in your house, like Libra was, like I was in Libra's reading, like turning the lights off, you know, covering up the mirrors if you don't want to see your reflection. I'm a bit of a narcissist. I love dancing and looking at myself in the mirror. And like, and just kind of like dancing and moving your body and feeling the music. And you know, some of you, I've been getting as well, someone may have like synesthesia. Is that what it's called? Synesthesia. It's where you see music, or you hear a word and the word is associated with a different color. So it's this it's something to do with your brain processes. So some of you may have that, but it's really like feeling your body and feeling yourself melt into the atmosphere. So again, that sense of like, have you ever been in a big crowd and like, you know, say you're at a concert or something, and like, you know, the headline act comes on with their best song that everybody knows all the words to, and it's like the crowd goes wild. It's like a wave, right? And like that sense of like being part of something bigger than yourself and like being part of the wave. There's something about music and vibrations as well. Black holes resonate, they make a sound, and we can pick it up and hear it on earth, you know, as the waves ripple out. It's really 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 subtle, but they've got machinery that can do this. So it's that idea of like being in resonance with something, or being part of the wave, part of the crowd, and losing yourself in that kind of mass consciousness, especially with music. Okay, I'm going to try and actually get through the cards. So this idea of like all the fours. So the fours to me are representing the structure, the box, the logical decisions that we make, you know, the things that we should do to uphold the structures, to uphold society, to uphold our own sense of security and well-being. So going to work, paying the bills, looking after your kids, you know, all the things that create those four tent pegs of our existence, right? The rules that we live in. A lot of the time these are, maybe someone's got Scorpio in the chart. Scorpio creates their own box, right? They create their own scripture, their own set of values, and they really kind of like stick to them and they enforce them upon themselves. So, but whatever this four is, right, whatever the box is, it's like something, again, if you imagine there's a fish tank, but the water's outside the fish tank, and I had this once in a reading. I remember having this before. I can't for the life of me remember who, but this sense of like, you're in the tank, right? You're in the box, and outside is this emotional realm of the water world. And then it's like something coming up to you. I had this before. It's bringing something out of my memory. So again, it could be some kind of memory that you've forgotten about. This creature approaching you, and it's part of that vibration. It's part of that realm, and it's like coming in and offering you the opportunity to join it, I want to say. So it could be an invite. Do you want to come to this party? Do you want to come to this concert? Do you want to come and be part of this wave that I'm experiencing? What is happening here? So you start with this Four of Earth. So again, it's like the offer being made, right? Or perhaps you've made an offer to this and this is making an offer back to you. You know, something like this. But it's like the Four of Earth is a blockage. It's or it's being guarded, right? So it's like or it's holding on to something. So with it coming in with Pachamama, it's like Pachamama being like this earth energy. So it feels like you are part of the earthly realm, the tangible realm, the world of matter, the world where things matter, the world where we use our logic and our reason to create rule systems and to you know, follow those rules because it gives us that sense of security. You seem to be in that and holding on to it in some sort of way. There's a resistance to joining this wave. Excuse me. And you perhaps feel very, very connected to the tangible reality, right? The family that you've created, your job, all the things that matter because they are matter is the way it's coming through. But then what's fascinating to me is you have this offer of freedom, which was in Capricorn's reading. Capricorn had freedom twice and it was in the reverse. Capricorn was choosing to stay in the box. You know, they had the defenses up. They were clinging, that Cancerian energy of clinging to the familiar, clinging to the safety. Because in Capricorn's reading, it was coming through with this sense of integrity. However, you have it in the upright. So you seem to be taking the other choice. You seem to be taking the offer of love or the offer of emotions that was being rejected in the other reading. Because it represents freedom. Freedom from the humdrum, freedom from the day-to-day, freedom from the chores, freedom from having to be what people want you to be, and going into this realm where you just feel, you just exist and you just feel, and you let your obligations slide off you. So again, it really feels like the alternate choice rather than, you know, this person's doing this person's doing that. It seems like the signs are coming in with almost scenarios of what would happen if you chose option B. So the Four of Water itself is the Four of Cups, and it talks about missing opportunities, right? Like this, like the Four of Earth being guarded or being resistant or holding on or having some kind of blockage. The three cups that are not on offer represent, they're normally shown as being spilled over. So it's like things that didn't work out in the past. Like, well, I tried that, it didn't work out for me. I went to that party, I didn't enjoy myself. You know, I didn't get along with that person. But the fourth cup is like the Ace of Cups. So it's like a divinely guided cup that is for you and it's right for you because you're going to have some kind of experience that you need, right? You need this experience, I want to say. So this siren creature is coming in and offering you this opportunity, and it seems to be connected to emotional freedom in some sort of way. Now again, Capricorn's reading had the sense of their reading ended with the card love. Now this card, I'm going to be 100% honest with you, did not come out in this spread. However, I'm feeling it very, very, very strongly for you, and I've done, this is the third attempt at pulling cards for you, and both times on the first two cards, on the first two spreads that I did, the first card that came out both times was love, and the first card that came out in the shuffle was love. So this card has been trying to come out for you very, very, very determinedly. So again, it could be somebody who loves you and wants you to go out and have some fun with them, right? This offer of love, this choice of love has been on the table for you for the past few days since doing Capricorn's reading. I think the reason it didn't come out for this reading was because they were sick of me putting it back in and re-pulling the cards. But because at this point, you've made the choice, right? The choice has been made for you. And it's coming in with this repairing the veil, forgiveness. So I want to say you could be forgiving somebody who you have a lot of love for. There's a heartfelt connection here and you're forgiving this person. You could also be loving yourself and forgiving yourself. But whatever's happening, it's like the veil of separation. So again, in imagery, it came through for me as me being part of the air or the earthly realm and this creature being part of the water realm. And drawing these two together, right? Drawing these two different realms closer together so that they can touch, and so that they can, perhaps so that this offer can be accepted. It's like closing the gap or closing the distance between you so that this offer can be seen, also that this offer can be presented, is the way it's coming through. But that seems to have happened, I would say, for most of you at this point, just because of the way the energy's moved. And I have to say as well, as my vision moved on from this, once I got into the vibration, which came through so strongly, it was this was what was being experienced. So again, I spent the whole day in bed on Friday. It was like, I just felt like I was being held the entire time. I felt safe, I felt loved, I felt secure, even though I was like alone in my bed. Right? It's like the energy that was coming through was this, like safety, security, love, protection, companionship, really, really strongly. And then it was like, it was gone. It was like I couldn't find Pisces anymore. Not that I'm in love with you, Pisces, although I like you a lot. You know, I like it a lot. I'm reading your energy, right? So this is something that is being experienced collectively for Pisces. So but I wanted to stay in it, right? I wanted to sit in it. I didn't want to leave that energy. So when the energy left me, I was trying to pull it back in and trying to get it back. And this is what I mean. It's like Pisces went off radar. So I don't know if some of you have, it's that energy of like, when I get too close, when the emotions get too heavy, I run from them. When I get too overwhelmed by these feelings of love, I have to separate myself and get some distance so I can, you know, find myself again, so I can separate myself from this connection, because it feels really overwhelming and it does seem to put you in some kind of tailspin, I want to say. So making this connection that represents emotional freedom, you could be getting invited to some kind of event or a party, I want to say, because you've got the Four of Fire here, which again, it is the Tempex card, but it can represent a party. I feel like one of the signs, I think it was Virgo Aquarius, had this thing about the fairy party. So that could be meaningful to some of you. This card was coming up a lot for them. But the Three of Cups as well. The Three of Cups talks about a group of friends, soulmates, you know, people who get you on an emotional level. It's like the cheers card, it's the party card. So this representing like celebration of milestones, a party, an event, and this representing a get together with friends. I really feel like there could be an invitation on the way to have some kind of get together with friends, to attend some kind of event. And just a reminder, I got the intuitive message before doing this reading, don't say no, because it's divinely guided, right? You've also got new beginnings and the child. So I want to say, whatever you're going into, you're being encouraged to experience this through the eyes of the child, through the eyes of somebody who's playful, excited, willing, fun. It's like if you were a kid and you got invited to your best mate's birthday party, you'd be dead excited. So it's like, go with that excitement, go with those feelings. It feels really fun. You've got this kind of like Tinkerbell creature here as well. So you've got this thing about, it's like the thing is though, and again, this, you feel like the flip side to Capricorn's reading, because Capricorn was like, I have to maintain the structure, and you seem to be going, I need to follow my heart. So it feels like when you accept this invite, it does cause some sort of tower moment. So you have cards on the underlying, like, yeah, like look at this closing door as well. It's like completion. I said you've got all these tens. It's like something's ending, a phase is ending, a door is closing, right? So again, it could be a narrow window of opportunity. You have to get through it at the last minute, or if you don't accept this offer, that door will not open again, something like that. But you've got these cards. So you've got Herald of Change. So this is, it's not a scary card, it's kind of like hope for the best card. So it's like a message is coming in, the news is coming in, you're gonna hear something about some sort of change. You've got Fortune's wheel here as well, so big change energy happening in your reading. Something's changing. You're gonna hear this announcement, I want to say. Again, it could be something like, you know, the reign of Elizabeth the First is over. We've now got Charles II. Elizabeth II is over. Elizabeth the First, she was a long time ago. Now we've got Charles III. Oh my God, numbers. So it could be something like that, right? You're hearing this announcement. Look at all this gold as well. But it's yes, it's going to create some kind of tower moment, I want to say, but it's like whatever is supposed to fall will fall. The wheel is turning. There is a change coming in. It's unavoidable. Um, but do you want to be part of the structure that falls away, or do you want to be part of the new? Is the kind of question that's being presented here, because I want to say it's something like the borders are changing, or the rules are changing, or people are going to experience something from a different place. So again, going from this concept of the earth to the water, we've had a earth sign queen and we're going to a water sign king, if I'm remembering that correctly. So it's like the collective here, or at least part of the collective, will be ruled by somebody who rules from an emotional place. They make emotional decisions rather than the logical decisions, perhaps, which could be a change for a lot of people. It could be a change for the parliament to be dealing with somebody who's making choices from a different place, you know? Again, there's messenger energy underneath that. So it's not bad. Tower moments are never bad. They're never scary. They just represent the cycle change, like the fortune's wheel, right? Whatever is no longer fit for purpose has to go so that the new can flourish. And again, this idea of like the moon, I could see the thunder is like, yes, it was a split, but I can see this thunder poking out from under the moon. It's like the sun there as well, the journey, lightning. Yeah, you've really got this kind of transitory change energy. It's like the rumblings of change, right? Because something's going to change and you're going to be offered the opportunity to go on some kind of journey, is how it's saying. And I do feel like it's an emotional journey. So when this happens, oh, you've got this crystal card as well. This crystal talks to me about your soul. Being able to shine a light through your own soul and see every aspect of it and see it thoroughly. It does kind of look to me though as well like the almost jellyfish-like quality of this creature that I saw in my my reading. This came out twice for you, by the way. It came out in your previous kind of off-camera pre-shuffle. So what is authentic to you? So put your logic and reason aside for a second and ask, what does your soul say? What do you feel about this? So again, I do feel like your reading is representing the emotional choice rather than the honorable choice, perhaps. You are coming through this kind of like rebel energy, this bad girl, like, and again, it was showing up in Capricorn's reading with the kind of like trouble cards, trouble songs that came through. Oh, Elvis, you've been getting Elvis as well. What were you getting with Elvis? So I was just trying to remember. It's gone. You were getting Elvis as well. I mean, Elvis, the movie's out, so people are watching it, which could just be why it's coming up a lot. But they're telling me snake hips. That's not Elvis, is it? That's Tom Jones, snake hips. So going out dancing, accepting this opportunity to go out to the pub, to go out to the club, to go out with your mates, to go out dancing, to go out celebrating, to blow off some steam. But it's like it almost tripped you up in a way, because you're connected to other people. It's not just you. So there's something happening where it's like when you accept this offer, there's strings attached. Can you see all these strings? These, like, can you see here? These like little dots. So it's like when you make a decision, when you make a choice, there's energetic connections with others. So here with this 3 of water, what it seems to be saying to me is, because you can see it's a mermaid in both of these, it's like when you take this, it could be information as well, like the pearls representing like a pearl of wisdom. I feel like you had wisdom somewhere. I don't know where it's gone now. When you take this off somebody else, when you accept this offer, it makes this person spiral. It's like you take something from them, so they no longer have the 4 now, right? They no longer have the 4 tent pegs, they now have the 3. So it's like, if these 3 cups are representing 3 other people, how do I explain this? Can you see it's almost like off balance, because then you have this balancing act, right? Balancing on one foot. So it's like trying to, when you take the offer, it has this effect on the other, because everybody's attached to other people, right? It's like degrees of separation or something. It's like if one person moves position, it has a knock-on effect on the others. So it goes from being stable, right, having the 4 and being stable. So it's like you gain stability, right, through you accepting this offer or this information. You gain stability, right? You become balanced, but this other gets thrown off kilter. Like they have to rebalance, because now they're, do you see what I mean? It's like having, I don't know, it's like having like something, a situation that's perfectly weighted, right? It's like I can stand here and balance on one foot with these 2 weights in my hand, but if you take the heaviest object off me, I'm now like, I have to rebalance. So it creates a spiral, I want to say, in this person's emotions, where again, it could be you, it could be you've offered something to someone else, they've taken it, but you've now spiraled. Where it's got this kind of like tripping up energy. So have you ever seen movies where it's like somebody, you know, say like rock climbing, like people, oh, I'm getting pain here now, that could be symbolic for somebody, maybe somebody's fallen, kind of hurt themselves, but it's like when you can see people like rock climbing, right, abseiling, and they're attached to each other with the rope, and then one person falls and it pulls, again, this idea of like pulling on the other, so it like pulls on the other people who are also attached to the rope. And it's like, because you can see there's all this like stuff about like the string, like the people who are attached to this string. Do you see what I mean? Like all this like string energy, and like, and even here, right, it's like as you tighten the belt, perhaps, or you tighten the string between you and this other, as you pull closer to this other, like, yes, they're moving towards you, but it's like they're dragging these 3 others behind them. Like there's other people who are tied up to this person or to this connection. It could be like a parent, right? If a parent goes somewhere, they have to drag the kids around. Perhaps you've got 3 kids. So, but what's happening is, although there's this tie-up energy, or this being dragged along, or this restriction energy, because again, like the 4 goes to the 3, right? 4, 4, 3, 1 and 2 makes 3. There is a new perspective gained. It's got, again, this kind of falling angel thing to it. And again, going back to the vision that I had, where it's like I was being dragged down into these emotional depths because I was tied to these weights, right? So if you want to consider the idea that you are energetically connected to other people, perhaps friends, perhaps children, and if they are going to go to an emotional place they've never been before, it's going to have an energetic connection with you as well, right? It's also going to pull you along with it. But there is a choice being made, I want to say, to not drop the weights, right? To not disentangle from these others that you're connected with, because it's like, you know, that when you get dragged along with them to this deep emotional place, there's going to be, it's like, it's going to be an adventure. There's going to be knowledge that's found there, something like that. Or are you the 4th? It's like, you see what's going on with the images here. It's like, because you go down to the depths, right? Because you sink to the bottom of the ocean and discover this deep truth. Because the Hangman is, it's Aquarius energy. So again, Aquarius had this whole thing about Aquarius being the starman, right? The person who's up in the sky and then falling to earth, a little bit like if you want to bring Lucifer into the equation, but it's like this angel falling, right? Or this alien falling to earth, right? And going into the ocean. But it's like, it's connected to these others. So it's like, it's rocking the boat. Oh my God, why was it so hard for me to get to that? So it's like, as this energy falls, perhaps even from a position of, because like the stars represent reputation as well, right? So perhaps somebody's whose reputation is about to plummet in some sort of way, and they're going to go from being like a beacon, like a star in the sky or a symbol of hope, into something that is um, going into these deep emotional waters and these deep emotional truths to get a new perspective. It's not negative, but it's like in doing this, in going to the highs and the lows, it has an effect on the others, right? It is makes the ship unstable. It just feels like the abyss, right? Like, have you seen the bit in the abyss where the crane falls, right? The crane falls, but the ropes are attached and it's like dragging the ship along. So then this balancing act, this teetering on the edge. So I'm just fascinated by your reading, you know, as it unravels. So I asked for you've got so many songs for this reading, but because I was getting overwhelmed, I was like, I need the clarity. I need the clarity of one song that's really gonna help me to deliver the message of this reading. And I got River Deep Mountain High, which again is fascinating to me because I was like, I keep seeing like the moon in the sky, right, with the galaxies in the solar system, and you know, the height of it, and the emotional depths, like right to the bottom of the ocean floor. Like, again, it's like this like sky high ocean deep thing. So the idea, the fact that this song came through for you, just absolutely fascinating. So obviously I can Tina Turner, their relationship wasn't great, so it could again be a relationship with somebody where, you know, there are a lot of highs and lows within this relationship. You could be dealing with somebody who perhaps has addictions or irregular behavior, or you know, I've been talking about DID a little bit in the readings, or um, like bipolar disorder or something like that, you know, where this person does have peaks and lows. And okay, so the song was River Deep Mountain High. When I was a little girl, I had a rag doll, only doll I've ever owned. Now I love you just the way I love that rag doll, but only now my love has grown, and it gets stronger in every way, and it gets deeper, let me say, and it gets higher day by day. And do I love you, my oh my? Yes, River Deep Mountain High. If I lost you, would I cry? Oh, how I love you, baby. When you were a young boy, did you have a puppy that always followed you around? Well, I'm going to be as faithful as that puppy. No, I'll never let you down. So it's almost like, I don't know who you are in this equation. It's like being in love with somebody who perhaps does feel things on a very like sensitive level, like somebody who has who is perhaps very connected to the unconscious collective energies, right? As somebody who is affected by the energies of the moon, the rising of the tides. So again, it could be a Cancerian, or again, somebody just with a lot of water placements. Again, it could be you, Pisces. But somebody who feels things very, very keenly, and you know, you don't know what you're going to get from them day to day. So I have Capricorn South Node and I've got Cancer North Node. So again, this is like, I learned lessons about myself here. So I was getting for some of the readings an energy of perhaps somebody who does have highs and lows, right? And perhaps they have been institutionalized, or it's like the specific situation, right? Okay, I'm going to bring up this child and this crystal card now. So this is saying to me there could be somebody who, when they were a child, the crystal card itself talks about people who could be autistic, or people who are on the spectrum, indigo children or crystal children. It's a reference that people have for people with these neurodiversities, right? So you could have a child who has some kind of neurodiverse, I don't like to say disability because I prefer differently abled than disabled, because I think that, yes, when you put a child who has special learning needs into a environment or a structure or a society that has been created for children with neurotypical if you put a child into a school that has been created for neurotypical children, but they are not a neurotypical child, right? They are going to have special gifts and abilities, and they are going to see the world very differently and navigate the world differently to those neurotypical children. And so there's a what's that proverb? It's something like, you wouldn't ask a dolphin to climb a tree, right? Something like that. It's like, you know, if you ask a dolphin to climb a tree, they're not going to be able to, because, you know, that's not their talent, that's not who they are. So why would you ask a dolphin to climb a tree? It doesn't mean that they are useless. You know, dolphins have like fucking sonar and like all this kind of mad stuff. Oh, that's another thing as well. Right at the beginning of the reading, before I even ended up in the ocean, I was on the beach watching whales, and I started to hear kind of intuitively like whale sounds, and like, you know, those kind of ocean moving type noises, and I could hear like they make, right, I describe it as like a sound like the predator, that kind of clicking sound that dolphins make. So I could hear like whales and dolphins right at the start of my meditation. It's funny that they come back up. So perhaps having a child who is uniquely gifted in terms of psychic awareness, or uniquely gifted in terms of creative ability, and this child almost being suffocated, again, that feeling of being compressed, right? Being forced into an environment that was not built for them. So if you think about it like that, if you think about it in terms of, maybe this is why I was talking about like DNA and stuff at the beginning of the reading, and the idea of polymorpheus, right? So a different brain, right? A different brain to almost like a different type of human. Not in a way where there's anything wrong with that, but in a way where the society and the environments and the structures perhaps are not fit for purpose if there are more children being diagnosed with neurodiverse brains. I'm just trying to be careful with my language, because I don't like certain language, because I think the, you know, children who perhaps have Asperger's or ADHD can often feel like they don't fit in with the environment. They can often feel like there's something wrong with them. And sometimes to get a diagnosis of ADHD or autism, you know, I know from talking to people, from talking to friends, that, you know, actually getting the label, actually getting the diagnosis can be extremely helpful, because rather than just feeling like there's something wrong with them the entire time, it's like, oh, actually I have this label I can identify with now. I can understand myself better. And then understanding that perhaps there's nothing, yes, you're different, but there's, you know, you're not wrong. It's just that the environment itself doesn't support who you are. And there's other people who are like you, who navigate the world the same way that you do, and you fit in with them better than perhaps your immediate physical environment where you don't fit in with them. So it could again be talking about like not fitting in with the world of matter, but perhaps on a psychic level having people that you do fit in with in some sort of way. Again, I want to be very careful how I talk there, because people experience things differently, and if your experience is different to the experience of myself or the people that I know and I'm talking about, then absolutely that's fine too. But you can often find that the people talk about spoons, and again, I've got a lot of friends online with coming from a variety of different perspectives, and I know a lot of them talk about the spoons. So spoons is a metaphor for your how much energy or how much brain power you have to cope with your day to day. So you start with something like, I can't remember the exact amount, you start with something like 12 spoons. Wake up in the morning, 12 spoons. Now, everything that you do has a cost. So for some people, just brushing the teeth is like 3 spoons, right? It's like a third of the spoons is gone for the day. Just having a shower is like 3 spoons. So very, very quickly, some people can run through the spoons and then it's like that's it. They can't do anything else that day. You know, their ability to cope has been spent on certain activities and tasks. You find a lot of people who, like, you know, getting up, getting out of bed, you know, brushing the teeth, that's 1 spoon. But actually going out and socializing, that's 5 spoons. Right? It's like that is a lot of their energy and brain power, and you know, their coping ability is gone in on that thing. So again, it's learning how much things cost for you in terms of your energy and your ability to cope, right? How much of a drain it has on your brain and all these kinds of things. And balancing act, therefore, being very careful about what you're doing, what invitations you're accepting, keeping that work-life balance, keeping everything steady, and not falling into this tailspin energy of getting overwhelmed and sinking into those deeper, darker places and being dragged down by that. So definitely something going on there for some of you. So perhaps some of you do like yoga and meditation and things to help you stabilize. You know, if you have anxiety or you have a bit of a meltdown, or again, it could be your own children, you could find meditation practices help with that. Yeah, I don't want to draw too much about my own personal situation into that, but I definitely personally have found that if a child is having some kind of meltdown, you know, turning off the lights, putting on music, you know, breathing, like, you can figure out you can help them to figure out what helps them, right? So if a child, perhaps, it's good to have multiple ways of being able to deal with those strong emotions, because sometimes, you know, you can't do what you want to do. If your reaction when you're getting stressed is to go out for a run, but it's 3 o'clock at night and it wouldn't be safe, then, you know, what else are you going to do if you can't go out for that run? You know, putting on your headphones, you know, drowning out the world could be the answer. So something like that going on there. The seer, being very, very deeply connected, being psychic, perhaps. Again, like me, I need a lot of quiet time because, and again, I have to personally get my balance right. So sometimes I get overwhelmed with feeling that connection and getting intuitive messages and feeling like, you know, I'm constantly seeing these signs and things from the universe. And absolutely I do. Like the seer talks about your power to predict, right? Your power to predict the future. And I'm not very good at knowing exactly what I'm predicting when I'm predicting it, but everything I predict plays out. It's like I'll get something intuitively, and then within a couple of days, I will see it manifest physically in the actual tangible world. I am 100% like predicting things that are going to happen. I'm just not very good at deciphering exactly what exactly it means. Always 100% plays out. So you could also have this and find this, and then also find that you need to balance this out by saying, I can't always spend the day in bed because it feels so good to connect to whatever this energy is. Sometimes I have to get up and, you know, sort out the kids, or sometimes I have to get up and put washing through, you know. So it's just getting the balance right. The eagle talks to me about a higher perspective, higher awareness. It also talks to me about integrity and justice and honor. So you can see the eagle as a symbol of, you know, the court systems. You can also see the eagle as it could be something to do with America, and it could be something to do with freedom. The eagle being a symbol of freedom. You've got freedom here, eagle, makes sense. Fortune's wheel, things changing, a new cycle coming in, go with the flow. feel your emotions. So I was getting something for somebody where, again, it was like a sense of being institutionalized, like you're broken, we need to medicate you so that you fit in. You know, we need to medicate you so you're easier to handle, so that you can play along with whatever structure has been created for you. And you know, that's not necessarily going to work for everybody. Some people, again, every individual is different. So some people will really rely upon the medication and things like this, and really appreciate the effect that that has on them. And sometimes, of course, if you have something like bipolar disorder, it can get very extreme and dangerous. So, you know, you do have to have, you know, something, you know, some way of balancing that out for yourself. But I want to say a lot of people who do feel things very keenly, you know, I personally, again, talking about the moon, I'm a female. I have a menstrual cycle. My mood goes like this along with my menstrual cycle, and to understand that that's normal, and to accept it and to embrace it and to see the positive side of that. Again, whatever works for you. If this doesn't work for you, that's fine. But I want to say, for some of you, you're learning to embrace the waves. You're learning to embrace the highs and the lows. Again, within reason. If it's dangerous to you or others, you're going to want to seek out some help with that. But for me, I definitely experience feelings of, I don't know, rapture and pleasure and enjoyment and happiness and all the good things, like the sun, right? The sun energy coming in. I definitely feel that. I have really good days. And very quickly, my mood can actually change, and I can have a low. You know, something can affect me where I feel something very, very, very keenly, very empathetically, and it really will take a lot out of me, and I'll need to go and rest, and I'll need to go and cry, and I'll need to go and you know, feel it out. But I've learned to accept, you know, in my 40 almost years on the planet, that there's good things in the dark too. There's good things in the sadness. There's, you know, it's a place, again, I've got Cancerian North Node, and this is a lesson that I've been learning. Cancerians being so engaged with their emotions and understanding that you can turn all those emotions, no emotion's bad, right? We're conditioned to think that we're meant to be happy all the time, and we're not. We're human beings who have the capacity for a huge range of emotions. And if you're feeling sadness or grief or, you know, all these different things, you're working properly. You're meant to feel things. You're a human being. You're meant to feel all these different things. You know, sometimes we're meant to, if a bad thing happens, you're meant to feel sad, right? You're literally doing what you're meant to be doing. You know, the idea that we should be afraid of feeling sad, or be afraid of feeling darker emotions is not true. Honestly, to an extent, it's been reinforced by medical companies who want to sell you medicine, you know, who want to make money out of your sadness and your pain and your grief and things like that. You shouldn't feel that way. We can fix you, you know. And again, that's not to say there isn't a place for that. If, you know, at certain times in your life things get overwhelming or too much, or, you know, too extreme, and you need to bring it back into balance, then absolutely medication on whatever is brilliant. But the idea that I call it melancholy, and again, I've been depressed at periods in my life, and it's been miserable, but it's they tell me black beauty. There is a beauty in it. A lot of, you know, that was that Lana Del Rey song talking about black beauty, right? That she sings a song called Black Beauty. There's a Lana Del Rey song where she says, if Picasso was never sad, we would have never had the blue period. You know, there's something poetic and beautiful and melancholy and cathartic in really feeling those feelings and transmuting that into something that is creative and expressive, like Lana Del Rey. She's a Cancerian with her beautiful songs that really touch people on an emotional level. There's a magic power in that. So again, I have to say so strongly that I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, and everybody coming to this reading is going to have different experiences and different needs, and it's up to you to decide what works for you and what doesn't. But don't let other people tell you you need to be medicated if you feel like I mean, again, within reason, because, you know, if things like safety is involved, that's a different thing. But if you're just feeling your way through life, if you're just a person who feels things very strongly, and, you know, you're not perhaps the kind of person who's built for a 9 to 5 job. You know, you're not built to fit into that corporate structure that has been created. Perhaps you're more of a running through the fields with your wind flowing through your hair, and then having a nap in a bed of roses kind of person, and that's okay. It's beautiful, right? Sylvia Plath and all these, what's that other Lana Del Rey song where she's like, I've been tearing around in my nightgown like 24/7, Sylvia Plath, like embracing the emotions and not necessarily doing things for a logical reason seems to be something that's happening in your reading. But again, different strokes for different folks. I think the Seven of Earth is here to say, whatever you're doing, whatever you're deciding, take it easy, right? Good things happen over time. This always talks to me about somebody who's been guided away from somebody that they want to be with. So, you know, you could talk about Prince Charles and Camilla. Like, I know that they're not popular with some people, but he was in love with Camilla before he married Diana, you know, and the structure, the corporate machine that is the monarchy said, no, she's not a suitable match. You need to pick someone else. And yet she's now Queen Regent. So it always talks to me about like kind of Romeo and Juliet style. You can't be with this person, turn away, now is not the time. The imagery of this person's not for you. And there could be somebody who, it does feel like there's a connection here. There's a specific person for a lot of you, or you are that specific person that, yes, like this person feels amazing, right? There's a connection here where the closer you get to this person, it's like being sucked into a black hole where, you know, there's a gravitational pull between you, and yet the closer you get, the more chaos happens, the more emotionally overwhelmed you feel, the more alive you feel. But I mean, the Seven of Earth talks about moderation, right? And not getting carried away with that. And then you've got Spark here as well. So this again talks about the creative spark, turning your feelings into art. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like you actually end with the Moon card. This thing about going with the flow, trusting your emotions, trusting the waves, trusting the ebbs and flows of life. You know, letting the boat rock. You know, just because the boat's rocking doesn't mean it's going to tip over. If the boats are rocking, don't come and knocking. Maybe some of you are going on a cruise or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's your reading. Go and check out the description box for all your songs. I'll pull you a song now on camera. We'll see what we get for you. What do we have for Pisces? Can we get a little bit of direction here for Pisces, or maybe a little bit of an outcome? Because if somebody's deciding, do I choose this, do I make the emotional choice that feels amazing but feels overwhelming, right? Drop Dead Gorgeous by Republica. Yeah, it feels, maybe, yeah, I don't know. It does have that feeling. Some of your other songs as well, being in love with somebody that you know is no good for you, but you love them anyway, you know? Again, toxic relationships and all that. You trust your own situation. You know what to do. Backwards words, he got him. Shut up, I'm talking. This time you'll listen, but when I look at you, you're forgiven. You drive too fast and I smoke too much, and my heart is broken, but when I look at you, you're forgiven. I know my ex-boyfriend lies. Oh, he does it every time. It's just his permanent disguise. Yeah, but he's drop dead gorgeous. Don't go changing every time. Not for me to compromise. You're still a friend of mine. And yeah, you're drop dead gorgeous. Yeah, end of. Stop sulking. Get out, you're walking. Too bad I've spoken. But when I look at you, you're forgiven. So, I don't know. Seems like you're all tied up in something, Pisces. Please take care of yourselves. Just an awareness of the pattern, perhaps, an awareness of that higher perspective over the situation, and not getting lost in it, and remembering that there's other things that you're tied up in. Could just be enough to maybe, if you need to walk away from something that you know is no good for you, doing that. If you are choosing to embrace the tower and the all the crazy stuff that comes with that, you know, all the crazy emotions and chaos that comes with a tower moment because you make a certain choice, then that's your choice, right? We're here on earth to have experiences as humans, and if we're staying inside the safety of the box, sometimes we're not having the full human experience. But do you want a tower moment? I don't know. Right, Pisces, it's entirely up to you. It's your reading. So, but there is some kind of change coming. There is some kind of turn of the wheel coming. And again, some of you could be recognizing the patterns in a relationship and dropping it. Some of you could be recognizing the patterns in a relationship, but being like, do you know what? Worth it. Want it anyway. I'm gonna feel my way through this. It does seem like there's a fight between logic and love. Like, you know, the head and the heart. They just feel like there's a fight happening here in the readings. So my tummy's rumbling. I'm gonna go. I hope this reading was helpful to you, Pisces. I feel overwhelmed as well now at this point in the reading. I'm gonna go and upload it, and like, please don't blame me for your decisions. Whatever decision you make, it's your decision at the end of the day. I am just a tarot card reader, and if you need to go and get some other perspectives, especially from doctors, friends, family, you know, psychiatrists. I don't know. If you need to get Freud on the phone, then absolutely do that. I am just pulling cards and telling a story, and it's either going to resonate or it's not, and I am not telling you what to do. I am not telling you to go and fuck that ex if they're toxic. Like, I want to really distance myself from that. You do you. Take care of yourselves. I love you. You are worth your weight in gold, Pisces. You know you are. I hope you know you are. Please take care of yourselves, and I will see you again soon. Bye, friends.